were conflicts of interest between what was good for the public and what was good for Facebook.
She's the Facebook employee turned whistleblower who wants the world to know exactly what is going on inside the social media behemoth.
I knew what my future looked like if I continued to stay inside of Facebook, which is person after person after person has tackled this inside of Facebook and ground themselves to the ground.
After losing a friendship to online conspiracy, data scientist Frances Haugen accepted a job at Facebook to combat misinformation.
I had seen how high the stakes were in terms of making sure there was high-quality information on Facebook.
Alarmed by the company's unwillingness to address the issue, she's now come forward with tens of thousands of pages of internal documents that she says prove Facebook knows exactly how harmful and toxic it is.
The version of Facebook that exists today is tearing our societies apart and causing ethnic violence around the world.
In 2018, the Myanmar military committed genocide against the Rohingya people, using the platform to inflame violence.
Facebook has realized that if they change the algorithm to be safer, people will spend less time on the site, they'll click on less ads, they'll make less money.
With so much focus on fake news in the lead up to the US election, Facebook deployed safety systems to reduce the spread of misinformation. But Haugen claims that was just lip service.
And as soon as the election was over, they turned them back off to prioritize growth over safety.
The company claims some of the protocols were kept, but whatever remained was not enough to prevent Trump supporters from weaponising Facebook to incite the January 6 insurrection that left at least 5 people dead.
Facebook makes more money when you consume more content. People enjoy engaging with things that elicit an emotional reaction. And the more anger that they get exposed to, the more they interact and more they consume.
And that led to perhaps the most shocking claim. Major European political parties told Facebook that this algorithm was forcing them to skew negative in their online presence, which in turn pushed them towards more extreme policy positions.
You are forcing us to take positions that we don't like, that we know are bad for society. We know if we don't take those positions, we won't win in the marketplace of social media.
The scope of Facebook's impact stretches from the halls of power to childhood bedrooms. The company's own internal studies revealing 13.5% of teenage girls say Instagram makes thoughts of suicide worse, and 17% say the app makes eating disorders worse.
And what's super tragic is Facebook's own research says, as these young women begin to consume this eating disorder content, they get more and more depressed, and it actually makes them use the app more. And so they end up in this feedback cycle where they hate their bodies more and more.
Facebook cancelled its planned Instagram for Kids app in the wake of these revelations, which we now know came from Haugen. In a statement, Facebook said, "We continue to make significant improvements to tackle the spread of misinformation and harmful content. To suggest we encourage bad content and do nothing is just not true." This week, Haugen will testify to Congress about the documents, which she's turned over to the Security and Exchange Commission. Her hope is that it will lead to some regulation.
Facebook over and over again has shown it chooses profit over safety. I'm hoping that this will have had a big enough impact on the world that they get the fortitude and the motivation to actually go put those regulations into place. That's my hope.
Very brave thing to do, but you ask the question, how do you rein it back in? I mean, how do you control social media? You can't, surely. It's
well,
gone.
you can. There's steps in. Well, I think there's steps in place that she's saying they could do more. But it's just the idea that they're feeding off hate and anger and. Ugh.
What's scariest to me about it is that she said nothing we don't know.
No.
Like, how many times have we heard this
I know, but
story?
sometimes you just hear it like that again.
And hearing European political parties saying you're forcing us to adopt extreme positions is frightening. Doesn't the moment come where we say, right, well, what can we do as individuals?
It has to be government, though. It can't be individuals, can it? You'll never get individuals to turn on.
I appreciate that point. But doesn't there come a point where you have to say, well, all I can do is not be complicit?
Yes.
All I can do is not be part of the system.
That's your contribution to the debate.
Yeah.
Turn it off. You're quite right. You can. All of us can. Most of us won't.
I know, they've got us addicted.
Yeah.
With so much content online, it's sometimes hard to keep up with it all. And let's face it, who has the time? The Project YouTube has you covered with the stories that matter. Hit subscribe for a daily list of the news that you need to know.